First of all, he's prophesying his own death, right? Over and over and over again. Jesus was, in the Bible, the Son of God. And so what he was saying is, even though he's coming with a message of love, he's coming to his people to reap the fruits of the labor, the rewards of the work that he's done. He knows that he knows what's going to happen. And again, he's saying, he's likening that to, or I think one of the ways we can look at the servants and all the people that got sent is, we all have messengers in our life. We have prophets that have come down over the times. We have books that we read. We have spiritual gatherings that we attend. We have songs that we hear. There are many ways that Spirit tries to get our attention and keeps coming to us over and over and over again in different ways and in different forms. And the slaying of the servants kind of represents us turning away from Spirit in the ways that ego does. Turning away from Spirit, into ignorance, into doubt, into fear. That really every time we choose that lesser thought or the lower thought or the unskilled behavior or whatever, we are, turning away from God. We're turning away. We're saying no. We're killing off Spirit within us. So he's constantly reminding everybody, live in the I am. Live in the consciousness that I am just the example, not the exception. That if you live by these teachings, all will be well in your life. He tells another parable about a wedding. And the wedding represents divine union with God. There's nothing, there's a wedding that's happening, and one of the attendees at the wedding, everybody is all in their finery and their glory attending this wedding, which again represents how do we show up for Spirit? In all our open-heartedness, with all our devotion, with all our love. In our best, highest self, we show up, fully present, with an open heart and an open soul. And he talks in the parable, there is someone in there who's not dressed in the appropriate garment. So in other words, doesn't have the right consciousness. A garment could represent the consciousness that we have. And so he's thrown out of the wedding party, And again, the teaching is, that you're not coming with authenticity to God. That this person was not coming with full authenticity, with full conviction, that again, he represented the illusion, the doubt, the fear, the not showing up for God in his full God self. You with me so far? So there's many, many teachings. The last teaching I just want to talk about in the temple at Jerusalem was, he talked about that principle of abundance again, and some of you may be more familiar with the Bible than others, but there's a widow that gives 2 mites. 2 mites apparently equaled a farthing back in the day. And he talks about how rich and how abundant that giving was, because for the widow it was giving everything that she had to God. And he really talks about that it's the quality of the givingness, not the quantity of the gift that we bring. That people who, have tons of money and just give it away because it looks good or it's the right thing to do. He'd gotten very upset with the money changers and the money lenders and all of that in the past. That they're really not coming from that place of Spirit within, that place of the givingness of the divine, and that the devotion, it's really the devotion with which we give our gifts that count. It's not the gifts themselves, it's how do we give it, how do we offer it. And so he speaks to the devotion that that this widow had for God, for love, the willingness to give whatever she had from a pure, open heart. So that's what he's doing. He's had a busy week, right? And all the time, he's knowing that his crucifixion is coming and his resurrection is coming. And so we see him kind of, holding both of these things somehow, knowing they're both going to happen. And then we have the Last Supper, where he gathers around his disciples. And the Last Supper is in some ways, depicting Jesus' humanness, the need that we all have to say farewell to loved ones. The need that we have maybe to have some kind of, it was like a Passover, a ritual, or a breaking bread, a coming together, a one last time. Isn't that a human thing to do? But that's what he wanted. And that the message that he gives continually throughout the Last Supper is, love others as I have loved you. Do as I have done. Let love be the baton that you carry. If you do nothing else, if you've learned nothing else from my teachings, it's, to be the open-heartedness and to be the love of Spirit itself. And in that he taught, as we all know, they drink the blood of Christ, right? And the bread represents the flesh of God. Well, to me, the blood represents the life force, the energy, the cosmic energy that's in all of us. That Jesus is sharing that. That which is in him, that cosmic life force, that divine energy that permeates and animates all of creation. And beat his heart and breathes his breath, and beats our heart and breathes our breath, and beated the apostles' heart and breathed their breath, that it's all in us. There's a sharing of that. And the bread represents consciousness, sharing in that consciousness. And what he says to them, is that you abide in me and live by my words. You too can do great things. You too can do great things. He really talks about, in there, that law of manifestation. That I'm not the exception. That if you abide by me, if you listen to my words, if you speak your words of truth, amazing and wonderful things will happen.